Hello, everyone. We are so glad that you have found your way to our Sacred Wisdom Circle today. Linked by a golden thread, we are lighthouses, just as you are beacons of truth and guiding the way. Through deep conversations and shared wisdom, we illuminate the path and heal through truth. So, it's wonderful to have you with us. And also for you to
Mhm.
know that lost, you're not broken, and that you are the light. And so, welcome, welcome, welcome into this beautiful space today.
Welcome. So happy to
Hello.
be here.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Happy to be here. Happy to be sharing space with you, lovely ladies. Missing you, Janice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Janice is spending some beautiful time with her family, but we'll celebrate her too today for doing that.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, and we're celebrating the equinox today.
Yay!
Plan- yeah, exactly today. The planet is absolutely 180 degrees, 190 degrees, absolutely even Stevens between night and day.
Ooh,
So that's
perfect.
really cool today.
If it only it wasn't snowing where I am currently. Well, it's been snowing off and on. So it's like I want to be spring here, but then it's like maybe not yet. Just
Ah,
kidding.
that was like back home. They got 5 inches the other day, quite unexpectedly. So yeah, Mother Nature's saying, no, not yet.
Mm,
Not time yet.
keep it as
I have
guessing.
I have no conception of what that must be like. None whatsoever. I think we've had snow in my lifetime, and I'm now 65. I think I've had snow here in Johannesburg twice in
That
65
would be
years.
it would be interesting to go a whole year without snow.
Have no snow. And if
Mm.
we do, by the next morning, it's melted.
Hmm.
That's wild. Yeah.
Well, you're more than welcome to come up, and I will be happy to share.
And that feeling is mutual.
Well, that's my angel with you guys.
Yes. Playing and
Uh,
having fun.
yeah, and you can come and have
Mhm.
some fun with me.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Look forward to
So,
those trips.
yeah, something else that's also quite significant today for those of you who are interested is that it is the start of the new astrological calendar.
Yes.
So, yep, and the astrological calendar runs from Aries, which is the crossover March April, to Pisces, which we're just moving out of. So, together with the energy of the fire horse, we enter into the astrology of Aries, which is a fire sign.
Mhm.
So,
So, in saying that, for those that have been feeling like this last few weeks has been either chaotic, muddled, like busy, whatever, there's a reason for that. Even though it's funny because, like, even we talked about the fire horse here and the end of the Chinese New Year, it's like literally it continues until now, in my opinion. Like, this is the like separation between the two. Not that you won't still feel things in a ripple effect, but I know a lot of people I've been talking to this last few weeks have been like, "Oh, what is going on right now?" Literally, it just feels like chaos and busy and shaken and whatever. I don't know if you guys are feeling or hearing the same things.
Oh, yeah. I know for myself down here, I ran a golf cart into a wall
oh
by
no.
accident. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Wasn't going super fast, but still enough to do damage. So that was quite unexpected. And yeah, just little things like that. It's a little big thing down here. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that bad, but it was like I went through a gamut of emotions and so there's been other little things like that that are just saying, okay, let's make sure we're putting things in check. And I think also moving through emotions through these processes as well.
Yeah.
Um, kind of rewriting narratives because, had that been me at any other point with any other person, because Dale was with me, my partner, um, they would have been right off the rails with anger and frustration. And, that wasn't the case. There was, I think, a little initial like shock and a bit of anger, but it did not last. And, he comforted me because I was just distraught, of course. at the thought that on this vacation, workation, that I'm, damaging something in someone else's property, the whole 9 years. There's insurance and stuff like that, but we still had to pay something out of pocket, so that, panic around that as well. But he handled it so well, and, then the unknown, like, they didn't even respond to us very quick. So you're in the throes of what's gonna happen, and it's like, "No, just gotta chill." The unknown is always the worst, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that,
Mhm.
that element of unknown. It's all worked out very well in the end, and people have been great, and yeah, move on, and didn't let it ruin our time, you know what I mean? Which in the past, it would have absolutely enveloped me.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Um,
there's been some chaos for sure.
I must say that one of the things that I've been feeling, it's kind of the fire energy for me has been very interesting. It hasn't been this raging fire energy at all. It's been, and what I'm seeing in my meditations is I'm seeing the white, that white flame that we see in the fire.
Yep.
I'm seeing white, the white and blue flame. I'm not seeing the red and orange flame at all in my meditation. So that's been quite interesting in connecting to the fire energy. But also, it's been for me, and I think we can get kind of hooked into, and I think we've spoken about this, the spiritual glamour of stuff. But when we
Mhm.
see the narrative of how things unfold, we've moved from the snake energy, which is the transmuting and shedding of skins. And Alana, as you were alluding to now as well, is the fact that it doesn't just stop because it happens to be Chinese New Year on a day. There's
Yeah.
still that tail end energy. The tail, I mean, most people would love it to be like that. But there's that tail end energy as the cycle itself comes to an end and the new starts to form, just like the weather. Moving from winter doesn't, just because it's the 20th of March and it's the equinox, doesn't mean to say the snow's stopping for you guys, or that we're
Exactly.
not, or that we're not. I mean, Cape Town had a heat wave the other day of 48 degrees Celsius, which is unheard of, absolutely unheard of.
Wow.
So, it's not around, it's about moving in with the flow of cycles, and that for many people, you may still find that there are cycles that are closing down, things that you're
Mhm.
releasing
Exactly.
before moving into the full embracing of the new energy. And so if that's some of the confusion that you've been feeling right now, it's the tail end of the snake, the year of the
Mhm.
snake that moves into the year of the horse. So
And the completion year and whatever, right? Too. The other thing too that I want to say is like we tend to feel, like you said, it's like, well, the days here, it's gonna change from here. But like the one way of thinking about it too is, or another way of thinking about it too is like what you see in evidence of your current reality is from past thinking. So what you see today is from what happened yesterday. And so we can't, when we're starting to make change and we're still letting go of the old self. And this is like, I'm currently reading The Mountain Is You, from Brianna Waste. And it's like, she talks about the gap between this is the pinnacle of the mountain is we're moving, or what happens in a mountain is that we're moving between the old version of ourselves to that new version, and we're going to feel uncomfortable in this gap. And that's what creates this space for the mountain to happen. And there's this conflict between our old self and the new self. So that ripple effect of like, today I'm choosing differently, but the ripple effect of what happened in the thoughts and the creation of what we did before is still happening, and it's still going to unfold. So that's what we're saying is like it's still going to continue. There's still going to be things that are going to show up from that old version that we've let go of. That's still going to show up. And it's knowing that, but continuing to choose differently, continuing to choose to step into what you want to create and allowing that. It's like it's manifestation, right? Like it's literally like, we oh, well, I want this to happen and I ask for it to happen. We're used to this microwave society of like everything happens instantly. And then we're like, where is it? Why hasn't it happened yet? I've put it out there. I've asked for it. Why is it not here right now? But it's this ripple
yeah,
effect. It takes a little time for that to happen, that transition to happen.
And I
I
love
work
that
a lot.
you're sorry.
Go ahead.
I love that you put it out that way, Alana, because that is very true. What I visited, even with that small accident, was old stuff of the scarcity, the worry, right? It didn't
Mhm.
last. and all worked out well, and I went into a place of, "Thank goodness I have the money to be able to cover this," which was really awesome, and our conversations, my partner and I have, like, the magic happens in the moment, even in things that you wouldn't think that would be magical moments. But since that has happened, my partner and I are now talking about he's purchasing another condo down here. He's talking about we're going to be selling the house, downsizing a home so that we can generate an income in this country. Like it's just, and it's unfolding. We don't
Yeah.
know when, we're not putting pressure on, but he's taken the steps to talk to the real estate agent back home.
Yay!
Right? So it's that whole element of we don't see how things are going to unfold.
Yep.
If I had been in my old way the whole time, these conversations wouldn't be unfolding in the way that they are. But I'm not in the scarcity mentality anymore. Yeah, it was a brief moment where it was like, oh my God, I had the money to cover what I needed to cover. It was there. Thank you, universe, for allowing me to have this. You know, I've worked for it, but you have provided it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And moving
Yeah.
forward, still enjoying the time. So you spoke very eloquently as far as that experience for me and what I'm seeing unfold. And it's beautiful because sharing that with other people, because there's moments when we do seem to get stuck because we don't realize early on that, oh my God, no, it is in the magic of the of today. We can't go into planning so much, but what are you manifesting? What is your intention today?
Mhm.
Let the universe
Yeah.
help it to unfold.
So, kind of coming back to, and adding on to what you're saying, Pamela, but also coming back to what I mean, Alana was talking about in terms of the mountain. I have this beautiful space. I refer to it as the space in between, where the old is closing, but the new hasn't come into form yet.
Yeah.
And it's in that space in between where I am learning more and more and more to open up and to receive what is to unfold, as opposed to engineering what I think needs to unfold. And coming back to what Pamela was saying around the experiences that we go through, is just because we've done the work doesn't mean to say the old echoes of who we have been are not going to make their presence felt. The difference is A, the awareness, and B, it was actually something that came up in my writing this morning, is the difference is that we move through it, we don't become it.
Yes.
So we still have it, but it's not part of our identity anymore. So that echo, thank you for sharing. Thank you for being around. Thank you for protecting me the way that you have for so long. We're going to be moving through this. And so it's still the allowing and allowing the feelings to emerge, not to go down the rabbit hole with them and to allow that to take us into an old identity. So I think the thing that's for a lot of people who, and even when I first started on my spiritual path and the kind of naivety, and you talk about the microwave steps to spiritual awakening. In the beginning, it was kind of like it's just going to be like night and day. It's like switching a light on and switching a light off. Doesn't work like that. There is an unfolding. There is a being patient with ourselves, learning to receive. We talk a lot about manifestation, but 90% of manifestation is being in a space of being able to receive. And how many of us, particularly women, know how to receive?
Mhm. It's true. Receiving is a huge component. And there's a freedom in being open to receiving instead of trying to forge your way, to forge your path. It's that being able to go, you know what? I'm okay exactly where I'm at right now, but bring it on. I know what my dreams are. You know what my dreams are, and bring it on. And just being in that space of, all right, be at peace with where you're at right now. And know, there's a knowing, an inner knowing. And that started years ago. I remember working for the Canadian Cancer Society. And I remember I had a period of time where like I just knew something bigger was coming. I couldn't explain it to people. I just had this knowing. And it was amazing because I ended up buying a house that year. Like, and it unfolded, as I think I've shared in past, miraculously. So it's like, it, you may be experiencing those moments of, I just have this knowing that something bigger and better is coming. You don't have to know what it looks like. It will unfold. I love that, the unfolding element. And you can sit back and you can relax and go ebb and flow, not attached to the energy around it all.
I love the idea of the receivership. I actually was just having this conversation this morning with someone. And again, going back to the identity about the fact of like we're switching when we move from this version of ourselves, a past version that allowed this, then this, and this to happen and reacted versus the one we now choose and we want to step into and whatever. But in the receivership, we've never been taught how to do that very well. In society in general, we're taught to be selfless and always give. And especially as women, we tend to give more and give of ourselves until we're burnt out and done. But we've never been allowed or societally been told that we can receive in a very good way. Even compliments. I was talking with somebody, like I said, this morning, and we talked about how she's been given these compliments, and then somebody will say like, "Oh, how you're strong and how you're so brave and whatever," and she'll be like, "Okay," but she doesn't see that within herself because and I asked the question of, "Okay, when somebody offers you money, how do you receive that?" And she's like, "Well, I usually say no, thank you. Like, thank you very much. I'm gracious in gratitude, but I say don't need it. No, thank you." Right? It's the not being in receivership. So I'm like, you're saying like, "No, I don't want that." And you do the same thing with a compliment or somebody says something about you that they're actually showing you as a mirror of what you're doing and how you're showing up. And you're like, "No, I don't believe that. It's okay." And so it's being in that thank you, not just thank you for saying that to me, but it's thank you. I am that and start accepting and receiving it. That's the meaning behind it. It's starting to be in receivership of that is a good way to start that practice. Same thing with money. If somebody's giving you a free coffee or buying you lunch or giving you like, I wanted to give you this. Thank you so much and accept it. And then choose what you want to do with it then. But accept it and bring it in. Otherwise, we're gonna continue this habit of, "No, no, thank you."
You know what? It just made me think of an algorithm. You're changing your own algorithm.
Yeah, 100% you are.
Right? And, I was working with a gentleman this morning and just speaking to algorithms, and he did a lot of scrolling, and everybody has this negative connotation about scrolling, and there's you have to have balance in everything. There's no
Mhm.
doubt about that. But he noticed because of where his process is taking him, his growth is taking him, he's getting more things around that are aligned with him. So he was seeing things on samurais and some very powerful statements around samurais. And he said he laughed out loud. He said, "I think I want to become a samurai." And he said the things that he's seen has hit him so hard. And I said, "They've hit you so hard because it's aligning with who you truly know you are deep within." And that's what a lot of people are also starting to experience at this time, is that the shifts are happening for people subtly and gently, but they're being hit with things. And I don't care whether it's on a scrolling on your phone or it's a message from someone else, but it's hitting harder, it's hitting deeper.
Yeah.
And these are signs that you are evolving and you're changing as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
Just letting that one land.
You right? Well, it's so I appreciate you sharing that. It's so true though, that the things that are meant for us are the things that we're supposed to be like I said, this woman's being receiving these statements about her, and they keep coming back. They keep saying these things to her, and she's like, again, in that, "No, thank you." But it'll keep showing up until we're ready to accept it. And it's being in that acceptance and receivership, and it could be, like you said, being a samurai. For me, it's like, there is a reason. I know it in the fall, I'm going to Hawaii. I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know where, but, it's been something that's showing up for me, so pay attention to the things that show up consistently. Um, and again, I don't need to know the why even. I just know I need to go because it's part of the evolution of who I'm becoming. And it's accepting that. Okay, cool. And allowing that to be because all of the things, like again, not so much the samurai, but like shamanism has showed up for me, but I'm not a shaman or haven't been a shaman. But I feel like again, that's something that's within me. And anyway, there's a whole lot of ties that lead me to Hawaii, and that's part of it. But um, it's just allowing entertaining the idea of, like you said, it may not be. And what I related this week that solidified it isn't so much about the shamanism or the location itself. It's what does that move me into being, and it's what
Well,
am I accepting in myself.
Alana, I think that you just kinda hit it there, is it's not about becoming,
No,
it's about remembering. You're
yeah,
being called to different places to remember a part of you,
yeah,
right? And to bring that wisdom,
hmm,
that is a part of you out. So all of us, in our own ways, are having those kinds of experiences.
yeah,
It's get out of our way,
mm,
because what happens when early on, speaking from experience, is we get in our own way because we think we have to plan it all.
ugh,
And in the unfolding, know that everything is leading us to help us to remember who we truly are at the very deepest core of our being.
mhm,
Mm, I was writing on that this morning. I've created a well, not created, rewritten, recreated a workshop on. It's called Amplified Intuition. And the first day is all about our relationship with artificial intelligence, which we've had many conversations on. And the second day is about amplifying our own inner intuition. And then the manifesting that externally in the way in which we engage in the world. And so it's about there's two different frequencies, but at the same time, there's the commonality in terms of how we make use of it and how it becomes an extension of who we are. And the thing that came up in the writing today was that it doesn't matter where we are, we take ourselves with us wherever we go,
mhm,
whether we're doing it online, in a space, or working with things like AI, ChatGPT, or whatever, Claude, whatever people are working with. We're still taking ourselves into that environment. So in addressing things like the fear of AI, the fear of all of these things that are going on in the world, where a lot of people are in fear, it's we're still taking ourselves with us wherever we go and wherever we're engaging. So the fear comes up because it's something to be examined. It's something that's being brought to the surface so that it can be acknowledged, it can be seen, and it can be made not only mental sense of, but it can be made sense of within our heart space. And then we start to move and transition through that. So it was really interesting just to see the fact that the feminine is coming online, whether we're talking
mhm.
online tech, online into the world online. Um, and it was a lot of fun putting that together this morning, or putting the finishing touches on that this morning. So coming back to what you guys are saying is that part of that feminine coming online is the feminine energy remembering herself. And here again, we're not talking about gender, we're talking about energy and frequency. And
Mhm.
so the feminine energy is also in the process on a collective level, remembering.
Yes.
Mhm.
It's an
Yeah,
exciting time.
very much so. Very much so.
Part of the practice that I've been doing lately is, and I'm currently hosting an experience called the Becoming. It's the Becoming Experience, and it's a 14-day, not a challenge, but it's literally, like I said, an experience. And in that experience, what I'm doing and encouraging others to do as they join, because there's no 14 days and your day starts wherever you start. So if you started today, day one, anyway, you get access to all the things. So what I'm doing in that practice and what I'm encouraging others to do, so if you're listening, here's an idea, is just again in that remembering, taking time and a pause to do exactly what Angela's talking about and what Pam had mentioned already is that tapping into that version of you that's already within you. We've been taught to seek answers and receive from things and ideas and expectations from others outside of us all of our life. And so it's a practice of really trusting and remembering more of who we are and trusting in that idea. So the more we tap into that, the easier the messages, the thoughts, the ideas will come through. So if you take a pause and take a moment and just go within, close your eyes if you need to, take a breath, breathe a few times, nice few deep breaths, and center in on you and listen. Because this is another part that we're not really good at is listening to our own intuition, like you're talking about, Angela, and tapping into that version of you. And it's like you said, it's I say it's becoming, but it's a remembering of who that version already is. And in that, that's what's happening in that practice that I've been doing is like every single day is what's the message that needs to come through me today? And that's what I either share on the experience or in my teachings or what's going on in my circles right now. But is really truly tapping into that daily. And the more we practice that, the easier it becomes, the louder it becomes, the easier it is to listen and notice and hear that voice that's already within us. So that's a practice to try, like in the morning or in the evening, just take a journal and sit down and write what comes up when you tap into that.
Mm.
That's what Angela does every day in her journaling in the morning.
Yep, every morning. Some people meditate with sitting with their eyes closed and in the lotus position or in a half lotus or just cross-legged. For me, a lot of my meditation practice is in journaling and writing. And especially in the early hours of the morning. I was awake this morning at 4:45. Oh, oh, heck. But that's when the veil is thin. That's when we can hear and connect with God, universe, higher power, divine, feminine, whatever you want to call this incredible presence that is part of our lives. For the veil is much thinner, and so we're able to pick up things a whole lot easier before the noise of the world starts waking up again, and the frequencies aren't as clean and clear. So, yeah, that's the best time. I know some people are night owls. I just happen to be an early bird. I get onto a couple of meetings during the week early on as part of groups that I'm am part of. And at one stage, one of the neighbors had a rooster, and everybody kept on asking, "What's happened to the rooster? Why can't we hear the rooster?" Because I'm not sure whether the rooster had to go to a farm somewhere because we're in a built-up area and people aren't supposed to have pets like that. But holy cow, everybody used to collapse every time he used to start crowing. Um, and so, yeah. And then again, things like nature, how nature speaks to us. I was walking through my lounge to go and sit down and have some lunch, and there were two starlings, not one, but two starlings that popped in to visit. And the message from the starlings, I'd have to pull it up again because I don't have it anymore. Pair of starlings. It was, again, when we open up to these synchronicities of the things that are happening around us, pair of starlings. Let me just tell you what it was. It was so interesting because I was about to sit down and create a newsletter for a client. And it says, okay, no, this wasn't the same, the same energy that I got. Um, because these were the ones with the iridescent feathers. They were just so, so beautiful. And it was all about coming together in collaboration, teamwork. And I'd shifted out of my own work into a client's work. And that's when these two starlings appeared.
Oh,
And it's
interesting.
just, again, just when we are aware and when we are just observant. I think that role, we underestimate the power of the role of the observer. Lana, you were talking about being an observer earlier on. We really underestimate the power of that. Of, and that doesn't mean to say we're dissociated and disconnected. It just means that we're
Yeah.
stepping back, observing, observing ourselves and observing the things that are around us as well. And there's so much power in that because that's when we don't get hooked. We can observe, we can see how we are behaving or else how somebody else is behaving. Instead of picking up the narrative and the story, all we do is observe. And it's sometimes easier said than done because we all have these triggers that
Hmm.
still remind us, hello, there's still some clearing and work that needs to be done. But it's again, it's do we move through it or do we stay in it? Um, and I just found that there's so much power in being the observer.
Hmm.
Absolutely, and the Sacred Reset experience that I'm hosting in November, it's about pulling people away from the noise of their life in the way that they know it, tuning into themselves, and also taking some time to go out into the community and integrate what they've learned about themselves. Become more the observer, noticing what they've noticed maybe differently than what they did before, so that they can take that observer, take that transformation back into their daily life. But it's
And this
removing the noise first.
Well, and a very simple exercise to start training the observer is when you're in a highly heightened state of anxiety or fear, whatever it is, to stop not only to do the breath work, but also just to stop and glance around the room and see what it is that you're observing. See three or four things that bring you back into your body and start training that observer level of showing up, or the level of observer skills that are needed. And I mean, it also links us so closely to the Buddhist teachings of being the observer, and those beautiful practices of things like equanimity, and not at being attached to people, places, things, and circumstances that are around us. Um, and so we don't get caught up in the drama as much when we're in the observer space. And it's not to say, and I think this is also important, it's not to say that we've never been in that space, and because we are walking a journey of a spiritual journey a step at a time on more and more enlightened, doesn't mean to say that we don't have or didn't have those self same moments of being reactive, of being in fear. We've all been there, and it's about being real as opposed to kind of walking into supposed guruship. And we all know what's happening around the energy of guruship right now. Not happening. It's
Oh,
all collapsed.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. That
Collapsing.
being
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Elena.
I was just collapsing because it needs to. Like you said, it's like we're this shift of the feminine energy, the masculine, which is the guru. Um, it's the ego. And it needs to collapse in order for the change to happen. I truly feel this. So this is one of the things that came through this week too. For me was like with spirituality amplified with what we're creating within that, it's this and what we're all
Mm.
creating within circles is to be able to shine our light to come into that more so that we can help that change and transition because there is a shift that's happening right now and it feels shaky. But the more of us that are stepping into this, the more that we're receiving the remembering and stepping into it further and trusting in that, the more we're creating an opportunity for others to do the same. It happens as a collective ripple effect. And it's not like we need to make this happen. It's literally the more we step in and allow it to unfold and to happen within us, then we're allowing that's giving others permission to do the same. And it's giving others that, and the energy is the ripple effect so that somebody else starts to feel it within themselves as well. And the remembering happens and the allowing happens. And like I said, and you said, Angela, so beautifully, being the unjudgmental observer of what is going on and not that it needs to be changed because again that's the old ego and guru and whatever it's a sharing of wisdom, the sharing and remembering of wisdom, the sharing of our light, of our source, of our creation within us. Anyway, yeah, it's good.
I see it very much being about leading by example, right? It's not so much about teaching; it's
Exactly.
leading by example because the teaching often feeds the ego. We get attached to the whole idea of the guru, I know more, kind of thing, and
Hmm.
and that's not the way it is. It's really about the more I know, the more I realize I don't know.
I was just gonna say exactly the same thing. I was gonna try and say that.
And so it's the
This
leading by example is huge, and it starts at, every level, right? Not being in just a leadership role, but at every level. Everybody's a leader in some way, shape, or form in whatever circles. So it starts at the level of ourself first, right? Being that example, being the best version of us that we can be, and then allowing that to help people to move, empower people to step into their authenticity. It's not a matter of this is what you do and how you do it. It's just, you know what? You have the answers, you have the ability, the same way as I've learned that I have the answers and I have the ability. So when we're all sharing from that aspect, the ripple effect really do not get to see. It's not
No,
just in the immediate. Yeah.
100%. And that's like literally what in the becoming experience today, that's what I was literally what I was talking about was self-leadership and that we get to choose. And but we've given up that power for so long and it's stepping into it ourselves first.
Yeah.
we can't ask people to go where we haven't been because that there is no authenticity in that. And very often, some of the people that we kind of elevate onto pedestals, and largely because of the energies of fear of missing out that's created around that. Again, our discern, for many, discernment goes out the window. And so we then kind of step back and go, oh, okay, this person has clay feet. And, what do I trust? Who do I trust? And the sadness around that is that people then start to begin to doubt their own spiritual path because it's still an externalization and not an internal finding truth within ourselves. And I think that, talking what you were saying, Pamela, it's about living truth. It's not, yes, it's about being the example, it's living truth
Mm.
and expressing that truth in the world of matter, not just having this kind of highly enlightened kind of crown chakra, off we go into the stratosphere experience. We still are needing to live in the world of matter.
And it's about us, we are beings of experience. It's actually
Yeah.
the only way to learn, right? People could tell us till we're blue in the face. I know that I've had many people tell me many different things that there was truth behind it, but it didn't solidify until I had an experience and went, oh, now I get it. Now it's aligned with me.
Exactly.
And look, I mean, look at how children learn. Children learn through experience before they get into the schooling system. Everything they learn is through their senses and through experience. Absolutely everything. And we lose touch with that because it all becomes a mental construct where we live in our heads.
Well, we get put into schools that are like, okay, now you need
Yeah.
to sit and bring in information, collect information. We're going to throw information at you until it's coming out your ears. Sit still and listen to what I have to say. And that's it.
I have to
Mostly.
say that
That's shifting, but
I have to say that I truly, truly, truly honor my inner child. I remember a memory going back to school when I'd first started school. I hadn't been to kindergarten and I'd first started school. And of course, I think my favorite question when I was little and still is the question, why, why, why? And I was kept on putting my hand up and asking a question and standing up and jumping up because I wanted to know and I was curious. And she sent me to the corner of the room with a dunce's cap on my head because I couldn't sit still and keep quiet. And in as much as there was a level of trauma around that, because this was just, I mean, I didn't understand any of this. I still honor my inner child for the fact that she still stayed curious and she still keeps asking these questions, which keeps the learning alive. And that for me is just so precious. It's when we get in touch with that curiosity and that wonder of our inner child and the the inner child learning that is still a part of us, that's when we start to experience these wonderful, wonderful openings and experiences.
it's funny that you
Yes.
say that about the dunce cap of like sitting in the corner. Like that's how we used to respond to it. And now it's like, oh, let's put a label on it instead. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yes. And why in the young years, right? In the age that you were talking about, Angela, a lot of that is a curiosity, but it's also like, how do I navigate this life safely too? Because what happens as we grow into our adulthood, the why, questioning is a good thing. Why, maybe as an adult, not so good because it takes us back into a survival state. But questioning things is what we should be doing. Asking the questions that so that we can align with things. Does this resonate? Does it not resonate? This doesn't make sense to me. Help me understand. right? Asking those questions as teenagers, we started doing that in high school, right? And what happened? We were labeled as troublesome or rebellious. No, that's our first real kick at the can of stepping
Ab
into knowing who
absolute
we are and what resonates for us. But it gets shot down.
yeah. And it's so the point that you make around teenagers is so, so relevant because that's when we start the real fracturing from our sense of self and sense of who we are. And the fact of the matter is teenagers are supposed to be rebelling because they're starting to discover their own sense of autonomy. And they're
Yeah.
starting to brush up against these things that don't make any sense to them anymore.
Yeah.
And so again, when they labeled, they were, I remember at our high school and all the so-called naughty kids, they weren't labeled as the naughty kids or the put into the, the kind of the classes we used to have ABC. They always used to be in the JK classes, and you'd find them being put into orange jumpsuits because they were in detention and having to go and weed and all these
Yeah.
ridiculous things. and in, and many of those kids today have been incredibly successful businessmen and incredibly successful businesswomen and entrepreneurs because the schooling system doesn't cater to people who are entrepreneurial in their thinking
Yeah.
because it's different. And so,
Exactly.
yeah, it's about honor your truth, honor who you are, love who you are, and don't let the labels and the boxes that people want to confine you into become the state of who you are.
Yeah. Don't
Like you
let that
said,
be your
Angela, like,
truth.
yeah, as you step into that adolescent stage or that teenager stage, you're moving into the, like you said, we have to rub up against these things to start identifying who we are. And then what happens is funny. I was watching this video one day, and this teacher was talking about how he was trying to help. He taught kids from kindergarten to like grade 10. And he would see the transition of them when they start hitting that age where they're comparing themselves to others and they need to fit societal norms because they're wearing the wackiest clothes in grade 1 and 2 and creating, like, playing with imaginary toys and experiences, and then they get to like 5, 6, grade 5 and 6, and they start like becoming quiet. They don't express themselves. And he tries to encourage that expression still. But we become, again, as a society, we need to conform to what is right and what is wrong and what is socially acceptable and who we need to be and what category do we fit into.
And that
And
language
none of
is
that is
so
true. But
oppressive.
so go ahead.
That language is so oppressive.
Right? But we're supposed to, we're not allowed to understand what a true expression is, or even in our feelings, in our identity, and all of that. And then we get to this stage and we become the rebellious teenager all over again. And we're like, nope, I'm not conforming anymore. Frick that.
And I'm loving it.
Right? Like you said, honoring your inner child, Angela, like 100%.
Yep. Yep. So,
Fostering all
ladies,
aspects, right? Inner
Yeah.
child, the inner teenager. Like every part of us is a part of our learning. It's
Mhm.
needed. It's necessary in this
and
human
it's
experience.
and it's a part of our truth. Each one of these aspects of who we are give us a gift of a facet of the truth of who we are. And so it's about the integration of all of these aspects. It's not the separation. It's integrating them all. Whether she's the little one, whether she's the baby, the little one, whether she's the tweenie, the teenager, the young woman, the mother or the maiden, the mother, whether she now crosses over into becoming the more mature mother and then into the elder. It's all about the alignment and bringing it all into balance.
And it's this
So
full circle conversation that we just had of like coming back to the things are shifting because we're sitting here talking about how things are not working or haven't been good. But each one of those experiences we all needed. Like you said, Pam, is the human experience. We needed to have all of those experiences, good and bad, the trauma of sitting in a classroom, all of those things to become who we are today to support what's happening now in this world.
Yeah,
So we go
absolutely.
back and we talk about what we used to be and what's not great about it, but it had to be in order for all of us to come to this point in time.
It's just as important to know what we don't want as it is important to know what we
Exactly.
do want.
absolutely. And it's also about evolution
Yeah.
because now we've been through that, and rather than looking at it as just something that was bad, we can go, okay, well, how are we going to help make change, right?
Yeah.
How are we going to help things to evolve? So this is again that cyclical aspect of life, and each generation is doing their part and their service to
Mhm.
the greater collective consciousness
Yep,
to
very
get to
much so.
where we're going to be at peace and harmony and acceptance of everyone and all that is. Like that's where it's headed, and each generation is it's a slow process. It's not something that can be expedited or bypassed.
Mhm.
Every last bit of it is a part of that collective consciousness evolution.
Very much so.
Oh, this conversation
And
lights
so
me up.
yeah. And so as we are being lit up as lighthouses, do you think we've
Mhm.
come around circle today? So I do want to also just mention, and Alana, I'll send you the link that I have a meditation for the spring equinox and for
Perfect.
for those in the southern hemisphere for the autumn equinox. I'll send you the links.
Perfect.
So thank you everyone for joining us. It's always wonderful to have you with us, sharing in our consciousness. And please leave comments, leave notes for us. It's always wonderful to get feedback. And also, if there are things that you're wanting us to chat about, things that you're wanting us to delve into, please let us know. For as the circle closes, the light remains, not just here, but within you, within me, within each one of us. Let these teachings echo through your being like a lighthouse calls over the sea, steady, unwavering, and so beautifully sovereign. Share what touched your soul. Subscribe if you feel the call. And always remember, you are the light, you are the way, and the circle will be here when you need to return. Blessings in abundance.
Thank you all.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you.